What's up, Philly? Welcome to Youth Uncut. My name is Coach Devin Buchanan, and Youth Uncut is a show that gives youth a voice and an opportunity to discuss the things that mean most to them. I'm excited to bring you here today as we talk about a topic that I think is kind of funny. We've gave it a really funny name, just off camera here, and snitches get stitches. But before I talk about that, I want to introduce the Focus Youth Network. The Focus Youth Network is a nonprofit organization that provides innovative, educational, and recreational opportunities for youth and their families centered around three main pillars: wellness and nutrition education, character development, and post-secondary success. And so I'm excited to be here with some of our mentees as they are just really leaders in our community and in Philadelphia, and I'm excited to be here with them today and to just really provide some insight on something that I think is a little bit controversial, amongst the youth community. So before we get started, I wanted to introduce everyone. So we have KIANA, who is a junior in Philadelphia. We have Sadia, who is a senior. We have Ricardo, who is a senior. We have Nashaya, who's in 6th grade. And we have Darius, who is a senior as well. And so let's get right into it, guys. We don't have too much time, but we want to make sure that we give people some value. And we came up with this topic because, I think a lot of times, in schools, kids don't always know, when it's the right time to kind of share. And so, I want to throw the floor to y'all and really talk about this idea of snitches get stitches, right? But really, what are we talking about? We're talking about, stepping up when the time is to step up and having integrity. So, I really want to open the floor and just talk about this. Have y'all ever really dealt with a time where you felt like, all right, I really need to share something, but I can't because of either peer pressure or, there's just a reason why I can't share something. I don't really feel comfortable with it. Have anybody ever been in that situation?
I personally haven't, simply because I feel like if I'm doing the right thing, I don't need to worry about what people think about it. But it's not that easy for everyone else. That's just how I was raised.
Yeah.
Like, if you're doing the right thing, do it. Don't worry about who has to say about it. So, and I feel like it's a difference between a witness and a snitch.
Okay.
It's a difference between what y'all consider a rat or somebody who's just standing there and wants to do the right thing.
Okay. Okay. So let's dive into this a little bit. Like, let's first think about, like, what would you guys say is the difference between a witness and somebody who's just flat out snitching, right? Like, for you guys, what might be the difference, between a witness and a snitch?
I think a witness is somebody who didn't really have a choice to see it.
So like a witness, well, yes, I would say a witness is someone who doesn't really have a choice what they saw. Like they saw it, and even if they saw like 10 seconds of it and walked away, they saw it. They are a witness just by that alone. A snitch is someone who may have saw it or may have heard it or may have been told it and chose upon themselves to tell someone else or to snitch and get that person possibly in trouble for what they saw.
So there's an element of choice.
There's an action with a snitch. There's no action with a witness.
Okay. Okay.
Also, I feel like it depends on who that person is, like the suspect at hand. So if it's somebody who you're close with, then it may be considered as a snitch. But if somebody who you don't know at all, then it wouldn't be considered as a snitch because you have no loyalty with them. Like, your loyalty don't stand with that person.
Okay.
So how can you portray somebody that you have no loyalty to?
Okay. Okay. Anybody else want to chime in? Like, so how do y'all feel about this idea of, snitching? Like, even when I say it, it makes me feel a little bit dirty. Like, I don't really want to call it snitching. But how do y'all feel about this idea of snitching? Like, where do y'all, like, why do you think people even call it snitching?
I mean, I feel like growing up, we all kind of like snitched on siblings or something like that.
Okay.
And when you get into like friends and stuff like that, it's a little bit more personal because they expect, since I'm your friend, then you're not gonna tell on me or whatever. And I've never been through that like situation where I was like taken to not snitch on someone because I don't put myself around those people who do certain things that would, call for snitching.
Yeah. Recently I've been seeing a lot of students who, and it's kind of been more recent, like really new, where students are backing each other up for the most ridiculous things just for the belief of like this sense of community or culture.
Right,
I don't really know what it is. Like, have y'all seen that? Like, kids are really, you know, they're like, whether it's fighting, you know, whether it's just doing the wrong thing in school, whatever it is, they're backing each other up now on things that I think they really aren't thinking ahead of about and are kind of ridiculous situations. You know, like in schools, what's y'all experience? Like, what's y'all experience with peer pressure? Because I think a lot of times this kind of comes from peer pressure, like this idea of snitching. Like, kind of share a little bit about your experiences in school.
I think it's less peer pressure and it's more like a trust. And when you said the C word you said, I forgot what you said. I thought you were going to say like commitment.
Okay.
Because I think it's a commitment you're making towards that person, because it's kind of like if someone lies to you, like when someone lies to you about something, you don't know if you should trust the things they say after they lied, and you don't know if you should trust the things they said before they lied. So
Okay.
if you are called a snitch, you don't know what they'll say about you now,
Okay.
because you have to watch what you're doing around that person that you trusted at some point.
I think it's also like the fear of not being a part of the community anymore if you do snitch, but like your integrity kind of takes the best of you and you just want to be able to do the right thing.
Yeah.
But people are afraid to like get kicked out of whatever clique or group they're in.
Yeah.
I feel like that plays a huge part of fear. Feeling like that you would be left out of something that you're not sure that you would be able to regain. So if you have a close commitment or a close friendship with someone and you betray that friendship, you don't know when you will find a friendship like that. Or you don't know when you will feel like you're a part of something again.
But doggone it, I have to push back though, because I can't call you a friend while you out here doing something like ridiculously wrong.
Right, because because you yourself wouldn't do it. So you wouldn't like to surround yourself with the same thing. Like you are a positive person, so you wouldn't want to surround yourself with negative people.
Yeah.
So once you see that person does the thing that you would never expect them to do because you never expect that of yourself,
Yeah.
it's like, whoa, this is a whole different person now. So after you realize it's a different person, it's like, I still enjoy this person's company. I still enjoy this person for who he or she is. So I don't know if I should disband my commitment or my friendship with this person by telling.
Yeah. When is it okay though to protect somebody you care about, whether it's right or wrong? Is that okay? Is it okay to protect somebody that you care about, whether they've done something right or wrong? Is there like a baseline, like, you know what? It doesn't matter what you did, I'm going to protect you because you mean something to your family or whatever. Is there a point where, like, what do y'all feel about that?
I want to say it is. It is a baseline because you have to think, we're not thinking about it from their standpoint. It could be somebody who know their personal intentions before they did it.
Mm-hmm.
So they're backing them up like, that's not what he wanted to do, or that's not who she really is. Rather than it's, oh, she can never do no wrong. It's always something that no matter what you do that's wrong, somebody else knows. Like whether it's a parent or a peer or someone, you always going to tell somebody before you do it. And even if you don't, somebody is close enough to you to know that you have good intentions.
Mm-hmm.
So they can make the inference that, oh yeah, maybe she was thinking of something good, but it didn't go as planned. So I feel like it's always a baseline because you never know what happened leading up to that point. But that person who's standing up for him will. And then you got to go hand in hand, like, this is family, or this is my friend that I've known for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, this is not the type of person, like, for as ever long you've known that person, they have never done anything like this. So it had to be something that really made them do this.
Yeah.
So you're always going to protect them, whether it's, like, extremely bad or extremely good, because you don't know that person. So your judgment is always going to be, oh, that's not a good person. Like, why would you do that? But their judgment is always, I got to give them the benefit of a doubt.
All right. being that this is Youth Uncut, I want to provide a specific situation, and I always wondered, you know, after I heard about this, I wondered how these young people, how the family dealt with it. But you know, I had a student who, you know, went to a school in Philadelphia, was shot by his twin brother, right? And I sometimes think about that moment in, if there was somebody there, would you protect your family member who had just done something accidentally, but it's a fatal accident? At what point do you say, okay, there's something I have to say here, you know, regardless of what the outcome might be for him, I might need to save his life, or I might need to do this. So what do y'all feel about that? Like, are y'all ride or die like that? Like, what are you ride or die, Nashaya? What do you think? Are you ride or die? I don't want to say snitches get stitches, because the scenario I just gave you is very specific, but you know, say you're in a situation where you needed to protect your little brother who had just done something, right? Are you ride or die in that situation?
Well, it would have to be it would depend on what the situation was for you to shoot your brother. So
let's forget that. Let's say we're in school, right? And in school you're in a protected environment, but your brother and you go to school, and your brother's about to get in trouble when he gets home. Are you protecting little brother, or are you diming little brother out? I need to know.
on the situation,
Uh-huh.
I would dime my brother out.
You telling them? So
yeah.
you're going to be necessary to snitch in that situation?
Yeah.
Now tell me why, though. Now tell me why. Is there morality behind that? Why would you do that?
Well, I can say, like, if my brother was snitch on me for something that I did and didn't, like, want to protect me or something, I would want to, like, be like, oh, well, since you did that, let me just snitch on you for something that you did. And so.
See, and it's funny that she said that, right? Because I think that there comes a point where you start to think about the morality, the benefits of it, right? And so, you know, I was thinking maybe you would say, well, I would tell him because, you know, I want him to be a better young man. Right. I'm not worried about what he thinks about me because I want him to be better. And so there comes a point in your life where it turns to altruism, where you start to think about other people versus just yourself. It's not about you. It's about, you know, how can I help other people regardless of the situation? There is no gray area that my feelings are inserted into now. It's either right or wrong. What are your thoughts? What's your thoughts?
I feel like as a child that the way you snitch plays a part with your parents. Because I'm the youngest, so I've always been labeled as the snitch or the tattletale. And at certain points, it's like my mom like, why are you telling? Like, why are you doing that? So it's like at some points you're in a position where it's like, I'm not even gonna tell because like I don't even care no more. Yeah. And there's other points where it's like, yo, you really wrong for this. But you know that the outcome is not going to be beneficial to neither one of y'all, so you don't know if you should tell or not, or if you should, like, or if you shouldn't, because you don't know, like, what's really going to come for this. So it'll be an incident where, like, my brother would break something, and I'm like, I'm not going to tell because what if she don't notice? And then when she notice, he'll blame it on somebody else, and I'm like, I should have told then, rather than... But if I told and she realized that it was broken, it'd be, why y'all all playing like that? And we all would get in trouble, something like that. Okay. So you never know what the outcome will be. So I feel like it's always a fear tactic and snitching. Yeah.
It's also, when you gave her the predicament, it's also, you may know what the outcome is. Because you gave her that her brother did something in school. And you know, rather than someone got, this one brother shot the other brother and you saw it. If it's his school thing, it's like, okay, he may get a punishment, you know, they may take his phone away, his game away, it's nothing serious. But something like, if you were shot and you saw it, you know, you could be in danger at that point, like literal danger. There's that punishment is not really leaving the house unless you, like, I don't know, you get a bad haircut on purpose. You know what I'm saying? Like what she has, she doesn't know what the outcome is, so she doesn't know if there is a unit getting in trouble or just the brothers getting in trouble. So I think it depends on if you know what will happen in the end. And you could also, not care if what happens in the end.
Yeah.
Like if I was a witness of the shooting, I was like, I don't care. Like I don't care if that's my brother or that's my cousin or that's my son. Like that person did something wrong, accident or not. Like he deserves something.
Yeah, yeah. I want to get to our parenting expert in a minute, right? Because I know that you taking psychology and you're learning a lot about parenting and things like that. But I want to like kind of think about what I would say is like a controlled environment versus an uncontrolled environment, which is what I try to tell my students a lot about, how that might determine whether you say something or how you react. So, you know, I coach basketball, I'm an athletic director, and one of my students got into a fight yesterday, right, during the game. And so she got into a fight because one of the students, somebody on the other team, pushed her. And I said, but you're in a controlled environment. It's not like your life is in danger.
Right.
And so you didn't necessarily have to respond. And in that situation, a lot of her teammates also agreed with her in doing that and was like kind of backing her up because they didn't understand the idea of this controlled environment. And so, you know, when we talk about this idea of snitches getting stitches, right, what we're really talking about is the most danger, right? Like, if I'm going to tell, why am I telling? Is this person in danger? All right, they're not in immediate danger. So now what is my motivation behind it? Okay, am I doing it for self-serving reasons? Am I doing it because they're gonna get better, you know, from this? Like, those are all the things that I think about. But I also think about that because of how I was raised, right? You know, you were talking about earlier some of the different types of parenting. Can you share that with us? Like some of your thoughts on some of what you learned about the different types of parents? I know you said authoritarian at first, so tell me some of the different types that we got.
Authoritarian parenting is when they're really quick to punish without trying to see the kid's point of view on why they did what they did,
Okay.
or try to help them understand why it's not okay.
Okay.
Just like, boom, you're getting punished or
Yeah.
whatever. And authoritative,
Okay.
that's when they are authority figure, but they also make sure that the kid understands why it's wrong, and they
Okay.
also validate their feelings on like, okay, I understand why you did that, but it's not okay because of this.
So I don't know about your experience, right? You know, I've seen as an educator a lot of parents who are authoritarian. And that comes from even hearing students talk, right? About, man, you treat me just like my grandmother. You know, you just yell at me. You don't tell me why. You just yell at me. You just give me, you know, a deduction or whatever, that type of thing. And so I think that also plays a role into how people go about living their daily lives and the morality that they operate with. What do y'all, you know, not to necessarily share your own personal parenting experience, but how do y'all think how you were raised is played a role into how you deal with certain things? Let's start with you, Darius. Like, when you get to school, like, how do you operate on a daily basis?
A lot of the time, I tend to keep to myself or like in my friend group, and I think like relating back to my home life, that kind of relates to how like for most of my early childhood, I was just I was very closed off with my brother,
Okay.
and we would just do things and stuff like that. If we got in trouble, we would be punished,
Okay.
and we never really had a chance to like say why we did something.
Yeah.
So we always kept to ourselves. So
Okay.
even like in high school, we keep to ourselves as well.
Okay. Okay. So for you, how would you say, you know, how you were raised makes you operate in school?
Well, how I was raised, I could say like if I like did something wrong, sometimes if it was something really bad, I wouldn't be able to explain what I did. But like if my mom is calm or something, I could go back and be like, well, this is how it happened, so that's why I did this, and she'll be like, oh, now I understand why you did this, so now you don't have to be punished, and you get a shorter punishment, and you won't be in trouble more. So
Okay.
that's
Okay.
how I was raised. And stuff.
Makes
That's
sense.
how my mom was. My mom was the type of person who, she didn't take I don't know as an answer. So it was always of, why did you do this type of thing? It was never just a punishment.
Yeah.
She always asked what was our meaning behind it. And if you said, I don't know, she wouldn't believe it. Like, you got to give me something. And if you don't, then that's a more punishment.
Yeah.
But she always made sure she heard you out. Like, my mom always made sure that we knew that we can ask and we can talk to her about anything. So it was no reason for us to really act out. But when we did, she could understand.
Yeah.
So it was always you know how when parents be like, I'm not your friend, I'm your parent?
Yeah.
It was always you can talk to me like a friend, but it realized that I'm still your parent type of
Okay.
relationship with her.
Okay.
So it's easier when I'm at school. So I would say that I'm friendly because of that, and I'm more family oriented because of that. Like, I always feel like I have somebody to talk to in my family, but I'm also more closed offish because I can talk to my mom about whatever. So why do I need a friend to talk to about whatever?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I don't put my trust into a lot of people outside of my family because I know I have family to go home to talk to.
Raise your hand. You could just give me a quick, not raise your hand, but like a quick little, no, but for real, like a little, hey, that's me. If you find that people come to you, or if people find you trustworthy, if people can come to you. All right. And I say that because I was reading an article with my students today just about how people become empathetic, become trustworthy, right? And a lot of times it is about how you're raised. It's about, are you given what you expect to receive? And then when those things meet, right, when you're not disappointed by certain things, then you're able to give that to other people. A lot of people get disappointed, by parents, by siblings, or whatever. And so it leads to kind of a jaded point of view with other people. What I'll get to you, I want to get back to kind of like, I know you a smooth operator. You a smooth operator.
I'm a little something.
So tell me, how you're raised play to how you operate now? Because you chill, you cool.
Why, thank you.
Yeah.
No
problem.
I got chill parents. The chill just progresses on in genes.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm kind of like Darius and his brother. Like I was very closed off. Not because of like how someone treated me or how like what I went through, just because personally I felt more comfortable by myself.
Yeah.
And how you said like people become more empathetic. I didn't become more empathetic, I wouldn't say personally because of how I was taught, more because of the people I was put around and how I was like me being quiet. I taught myself to like observe.
Okay.
And see how people are affected by different things and see how I'm affected and how those two relate.
Okay.
Because a lot of people don't realize that they can be very unaffected by what they say, by what people say to them, but it's not the same way. It's not the same vice versa.
Yeah,
so what they
exactly.
say to other people can be very hurtful to them because they're not as, I wouldn't say strong, but it's like tough.
thick-skinned
Yeah,
kinda,
and not
yeah.
as tough as
Yeah.
they are.
I got you.
So yes, I am very chill, but I'm kind of like well-rounded, so I got all the emotions.
Yeah.
I can be hype when I want to, but I gotta feel it. I can be upset, but it's kind of like a hour type of thing.
Yeah.
Like I can realize that me being upset
So
is
an hour.
yeah, like me being upset is just like, why am I upset? Like why am I really upset? I don't really get upset over a lot of things unless it's I hurt someone else.
I got you.
Myself, I don't get really upset because of myself.
Okay. KIANA. So listen,
Okay.
the audience don't know. This is a special opportunity for me because I haven't seen you in about 4, maybe 5 years since you were in my 6th and then 7th grade class. And then now we just reconnected and you're sitting on the couch on this TV show. And so this is an opportunity for us to really kind of rehash. But, I want to know how do you operate in school? What's KIANA like in school?
I'm very closed off too. The reason why it's because of I feel like how my mom raised me.
Okay.
I know that she has good intentions with how she raises me because in comparison to her mom, my grandma didn't treat her very well. She didn't even tell her she loved her
Yeah.
or anything like that. So she wanted to make it a thing of letting me know that she loves me all the time. But I noticed that some of the things that my grandma would do, like being really harsh,
Yeah.
she picked up on it.
Okay.
So if I
okay.
were to do something wrong, she would just like maybe say something that's not so nice and I kind of carried it on.
Yeah.
So I kind of just isolated myself.
Okay. Okay.
I think we all kind of carry like little pieces of things that, you know, from the past. And I always say, like, you know, where you came from is not where you're going, but it daggone sure affects it, right? It definitely affects it. And so, you know, when we think about, you know, all the things that affect us, right? And kind of getting back to this idea of snitches get stitches. And I hate saying that, but there's a reason why people feel comfortable telling or sharing, right? And so when you think about, you know, why in our community, and this comes from conversations that we've had online, right? Why in our community do kids, do young adults stick up for people who are blatantly doing things wrong, who are killing, who are stealing, who are doing things? And I think it's, you know, we really need to get back to the root cause of it. And it's, how are people being raised on a daily basis? What access do they have to good quality programs, good quality people, right? Do they see that their peers are also willing to speak up, right? Because I don't know about y'all, a lot of times some of the brightest kids in our school get overshadowed. And so, you know, do the people who are on the cusp, who are on the edge, see people like you who are willing to take note and then speak up about it, right? And I think that's the important thing. So, you know, before we go, you know, I always like to just give a little word of advice. Now, we only got 1 minute, so I can't go to all of y'all, right? But what I want to do is, Nashai, I'm going to surprise you. If you had to give one little word of advice to, let's say, somebody in your position in 6th grade who is new to middle school, what would you give them?
I would say, well, the advice that I would give them is like, be yourself and don't ever change for anybody. So, like, if somebody be like, oh, look, I want you to change and do what this person says, and they'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, I'll do that.
Yeah.
So I will go up into them and be like, don't ever change for anybody. Just be yourself. Be
Awesome.
the person who your parents told you to be and who you grew up to be.
Cool. All right, so guys, we will have to finish up there.
We appreciate you checking us in and watching Youth Uncut. We'll be back next time with another episode. Thank you, guys.